Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing amazingly well. In this video, I'm going to give you the one thing to never say if you're in insurance sales, as well as the fix so that you can find greater levels of success in an industry that's tough enough already. And sometimes you're going to say this one thing that I'm going to share with you that really trips you up and you didn't mean it, but there's a better word pattern that we can put in place of this to give you higher levels of profitability. And I understand this in an intimate level because I do run a national insurance agency. I have done the insurance industry combined with my telesales background over 2+ decades, 20+ years. And I do recruit and partner with some powerful insurance agents across this nation at jasonfinalexpense.com. Free resources there for your taking. But we understand never, and I mean never, say this just poisonous word pattern. And the word pattern that I want you to avoid at all cost is ever saying, let me be honest with you. Can I be honest with you today? Let me be honest with you. When you're saying this, you don't mean wrong, but what you're doing by saying this is planting a seed in your client's mind. You've planted a seed in their subconscious, and this seed grows quickly. Everything goes sour and they won't even say it. You're leaning forward in that home. You're hanging out on the phone because we do telesales. We do face-to-face sales with Medicare and life and annuities. And this happens to every one of these calls. You're going to code out. It's not good. Don't say, let me be honest with you, because you've planted a seed in the subconscious. And then once that happens, you don't even always see it. But what's growing, and it's going to get caustic really fast in your clients' minds, is the clients are thinking in their subconscious, you're lying to me. Because think about it. If I say, let me be honest with you, what the client thinks about that word pattern is nothing they're going to say, but it's in their mind growing fast. And you're not going to find financial gain when your clients' minds are becoming jaded because the very thing you said was, let me be honest with you. What they're thinking is that now, what did you lie to me about? Why do you have to say, let me be honest with you now? Haven't you been honest with me this entire time? What's really taking place is you've planted a seed in the subconscious. That subconscious thought became something, and that will absolutely steer your client in the opposite direction of where you're trying to take them. Trust is so important to sales, especially with insurance sales. And I know you're good, honest, trustworthy insurance agents, and you don't mean this to be. But when you're saying these word patterns that plant subconscious thoughts in your clients' minds, what's taking place is they're thinking, have you been lying to me this whole time? Have you been lying to me this whole time? And what's happening, this is going to create a huge hang up for you as you're trying to pursue the heart of your consumer, trying to help this consumer selling final expense insurance, maybe if that's your jam, like we do, or Medicare insurance like we do, or annuities like we do. We sell millions and millions of dollars of annuities and big IULs. We've sold, my goodness, over 80+ thousands, of dollars worth of IULs and ULs just recently in the last couple of weeks. And this is powerful. But if you're planting seeds in the mind, you're going to feel powerless because the consumer is going to give you all this negative feedback in how they perceive you. And it's not who you are, but it's how you spoke. So when you say, let me be honest with you, what they're thinking is you've been lying to me this whole time. So take that word pattern and go throw it away. The more powerful word pattern that you can replace this with is saying, can I be frank with you? Don't be afraid to use the word frank or say, can I level with you about something? Use frank, though, more than level. But these are great replacement words. If you like this word pattern, you're so used to it, I want you to just replace, let me be honest with you. Replace that with, let me be frank. Can I be frank with you? Or say, can I be blunt? That's another great word pattern that you can use. Use, can I be blunt with you? Can I be frank with you? Can I have permission to be really blunt with you right now? Don't be afraid to use the word blunt. Nothing wrong with being blunt if you ask permission. Nothing wrong with being frank. It's just a name, right? There's no negative subconscious connotation that's going to create just resistance as you're trying to really get engaged in this industry. So little things can become big things. And when you're saying, let me be honest with you, never say it ever again. Get it out of your vocabulary, because the very thing that you're trying to build, which is trust, ends up not taking place because you just said a poisonous word pattern that maybe you didn't think about. So words sprout quickly in the mind. They do matter how you speak, what you say, and even how you say it. This is why tonality is so important. And we train on this in our 5-day telemastery program. It's very important that you use the right words. That's why you need to be using proven power scripts, not free Frankenstein scripts. Those can get you into trouble as well. If maybe the second thing you're saying in your final expense telesales script is, hi, how are you today? Also, you're raising flags, you're creating barriers that really, believe it or not, don't need to be there. So be very cautious of what you put in your mind from some of these scripts that you see out there. Make sure you're using true intellectual property. Make sure you're using good, proven platforms that you can run upon so that you don't run into these problems like saying, let me be honest with you, or hi, Mrs. Johnson, how are you today? So early in the script, it'll get in your way, because when you say, let me be honest with you, you're planting a seed of, you must be lying to me the whole time. But also when you say, how are you today? So early in the script, it just doesn't come across as genuine. If I called you early on in the sales call and I go, hi, your name, how are you today? What you're going to think is, what are you trying to sell me? What do you want? I didn't ask for nothing. You're creating all these major barriers by asking these things. It's not about you trying to feel better about yourself, believe it or not. It's about really getting to know the consumer based on what they asked of you. You don't have to beat around the bush. You can dive right in, believe it or not, and help these great prospects. They really do need you, but don't ask, hi, how are you today? Also, don't say, let me be honest with you. It's one thing that will really sour your sales calls and take your chance of success away. I'm not saying that you can't recover from it, but where you're going to find, even after you leave that home, if you're doing face-to-face sales, you're going to find that after you leave, that thought grows and sprouts. Everything kind of starts turning in their mind psychologically. And what you're going to find is that they're going to think that, this person that just left my home, when they said, let me be honest with you, were they being honest with me? What did they lie to me about? And that's not what you want to leave behind. You want to build trust. You want to help them transact with you because you're an honest and upright insurance agent trying to be their advocate and being their ally. This industry is amazing. To be able to help these great consumers is important, but sometimes when we say caustic word patterns, it can put us into a bad place, believe it or not. And that's not what I know you want, and that's what you don't want to leave behind. So understand, don't say, let me be honest with you. Say, let me be frank, or let me be blunt. That's a great word pattern to replace it with, if you like saying those things. And then also don't ask, hi, how are you today? And if your script has that within the first paragraph, well, maybe you ought to think about using something else or joining an agency that does true telesales with absolute intellectual property. It's important to be intentional in how you say things, how you speak, and how your sincerity will even come across to that sweet consumer. They want what you have, believe it or not. And sometimes when you create barriers that don't need to exist, you'll realize the business will get easier. Now, I'm not saying the business is easy. The business is simple. But when you remove barriers that don't need to be there, your career will hopefully become better. If I can serve you in any way, reach out at jasonfinalexpense.com. Thanks for joining with me today. I hope this content helps you as you help others and be more powerful tomorrow than you were today, my friends. I appreciate you. And any free resources you'd like, they're on my website at jasonfinalexpense.com. Thanks for joining with me today. We'll see you soon, my friends.